Welcome, Facebook. This is Adam Ashba, president and broker and realtor with Ashmont Realty. And happy Hump Day Wednesday. I see a lot of you on Facebook. Kids going back to school. Mine start tomorrow. So, well, as we transition through a really hot real estate market this summer in Ohio, I'm going to talk a little bit about the current market conditions, but one thing that everyone is picking up on is, well, this is a seller's market. So if you have a house, that's awesome, right? So, seller's market, it's the Wild West, whatever the seller wants or requests they get. Now, that is true. It's very difficult to be a buyer. It's even hard sometimes to pay full price for a house right now. So, but in business, if one side wins a lot more than the other, there's always repercussions. In business, it's yin and yang. It should be an equal win-win situation for both sides to make a good negotiation. So with that being said, we're going to talk about 3 ways today that this insane seller's market is actually bad for sellers. Now, I know a lot of people probably won't believe me when I say, how can it be bad? We're getting record prices. That's right, we are. But there's 3 things so if you're going to sell your house, listen up, because there's some things that you want to do and to write in the contracts too. If you're realtors, pay attention as well, that you want to be conscientious of, because these top dollar quick sales that we're seeing right now, there are loopholes that you could get yourself in trouble as a seller down the road. So we're going to go ahead and cover these 3 ways that the sellers can actually might not benefit them long term. So first and foremost, let's talk about waiving home inspections. I would never ask a client to do this, okay, as a broker, but it happens every day. You see it no matter what area of the country you're living in. So basically what this means is that when a buyer buys a house, they're going to say, you know what, I'll just take it as is. I don't care if it has a million issues with it. We'll just take it as is. We don't want any repairs and so on. Now, that sounds awesome from a seller's point of view, but this is where it can go bad. So your buyer buys your house. They do no due diligence. They move in the house. 6 months later, you get a call saying, hey, there is XYZ issue. Now, you can say, and there are forms that both parties sign. It's called a real property disclosure that both parties sign that talks about the condition of the house. Okay. But long story short, then the answer is, well, listen, you bought it as is. Why are you calling me now? This isn't my problem. So quick story. Obviously, I won't be using any names. This happened to another broker here in our market. And the issue was they were at no fault. They not only did a home inspection, okay, in this case, we're saying they didn't even do one. They waived it, but they did do one. The buyer still came back after the fact, who is now the new owner of the home, and sued him. So the issue is this: just like the attorney that represented the lady and the hot dog and the hot coffee at McDonald's, you can sue people for anything in this country if an attorney is willing to take it on. So with that being said, you might waive that home inspection. Someone comes back 6-7 months later, they can still sue you. Now, is that fair? Is that right? Is that just? It's absolutely not. But if you've ever consulted with an attorney or took something to court, there's a no winner in that situation. Even if you win, even if you have a contract saying that they took it as is, I'm not an attorney, but the legal fees and things, you can be setting yourself up to a buyer saying that they didn't get what they paid for. It wasn't disclosed, even though they waived their right to an inspection. So just because they don't want to do an inspection, that's not necessarily a good thing for sellers. It might be good for local attorneys, but not for a seller. All right. Number 2 is home buyers are waiving the appraisal contingencies. Now, this is a little complicated. I'm going to try to make it simple for everybody. Something that we're seeing a lot, and it's happened over the last couple years, is property values have gone up significantly. But one issue that we're having is agents are pricing houses in stratosphere prices. And issues that we have is when we get to the point of an appraisal, we basically say to the buyer, we know what you want to pay $100,000 for a house that's worth 50. The problem is that's great. We appreciate that. But if it doesn't appraise, the bank's not going to lend you $100,000 on a $50,000 house. Really, your offer isn't really worth the ink that's written on. So one issue that happens is that, you know, they overpay for a house, even maybe overpay for more than what you're asking for it. So the question is, well, who makes up the difference? You know, when the rubber hits the road and when the bank goes out to appraise it, because they're still going to appraise it. The bank will, because the bank, that's the bank's money. That the bank's going to say, listen, it's not worth 100. It's only worth 60. So you want to make sure that if a buyer is willing to pay more than what an agent feels that it's worth, as well as the seller, that there's some sort of written agreement that if they don't sell, you know, if that house doesn't appraise for, in this example, $100,000, that buyer is going to write a check basically out of their checking account to cover the difference. Okay, now they might put a cap on it. They might say, well, you know, we will write the difference between purchase price and appraisal price up to $10,000 or what have you. But you want to have a guarantee from your buyer that, listen, if it doesn't appraise for what you want to, what you're trying to buy it for, then you need to make sure that you cover the difference. Okay, that's basically the gap between what you want to pay for it and what it's worth, that middle part. So with that being said, is, you know, does many buyers have $10,000, $20,000? I've seen it this year in 2021. I've seen it all the way up to $60,000. Now, what you want to do as a seller, you want to say, listen, that's great, I'll take your money, but I need verification that you have these kinds of funds. And you have every right as a seller to ask for a bank statement or something showing that they have that extra cash and in their account to make the difference. Now, if they can't do that, then you might want to second guess that too good to be true offer. Okay. And last but not least, home buyers are racing to close deals. Now, what I tell a lot of my agents, not all people want to sell quickly. You know, so if you're a buyer's agent, you know, and you go to the seller and say, hey, listen, we'd love to buy your house. You know, I know you live here. Do you have anywhere to go? My buyers are flexible. You know, do you need a couple months? You know, I've seen it where buyers give sellers 6 months to move out, find somewhere new. So what happens is, you know, a typical transaction is about 30 days. So the day that you both agree on a purchase price to the day you close is about 30 days, right? 30 days comes and goes pretty quick. So your client, the seller, puts their house up for sale. They get an offer the first day, because we're at record numbers here, folks. Like, the average sale price for a house under $350,000 in Central Ohio was 7 days. So in 1 week, statistically, their house will be sold and they're going to be moving in 30 days. Okay. So what happens is, if you have, you know, and this goes back to an experienced realtor, is you need to say, listen, we appreciate the offer, but we do not want to close in 30 days. My client has nowhere to go, because, you know, sometimes they have to find a house. So you want to write in that contract that, you know, we accept your offer pending maybe we find suitable housing, or maybe we'll take your deal, but, you know, we want to move out in 3 months. You know, give us 3 months. Because what happens is At the end of that 30 days, if your seller, you know, that seller doesn't have any other way, anywhere to move to, guess what? You're moving in with mom and dad. So with that being said, that ends this realtor's tip to sellers. 3 ways to this insane market we have is actually can be bad for home sellers. So this is Adam Ashba, and I'm the president realtor at Ashmont Realty. And have a great Wednesday, everybody, and we will see you next time. If you want to, if you have any questions about selling your home in this market or anything like that, please reach out to me anytime. You can reach me via email at adamashbud@ashmontrealty.com, or you can call or text me at 614-519-5265, or just put some comments below. I'm happy to answer that. I'm on DM as well. You can find me on Facebook at Adam Ash Realtor, and I'd be happy to answer any of those questions. So, all right. Again, have a happy hump day, everybody. Welcome back, kids, to school. I was so happy that the kids got back to school. We start tomorrow, so I'll be very excited for them to get back to normal. So have a happy Wednesday, everybody. Good night.